Now on this video, I'm going to try to share how I changed the fork oil in my Rd400. It's something that should be done on a regular basis if you ride the bike a lot and in different weather. And I'm going to show how to custom mix the fork oil. Now, of course, you can always just go buy one of every viscosity available. But in this case, I had two different viscosities. I wanted to mix it for a test. And it turned out to work just better than I thought it would. But there's a lot of ways to do fork oil, and some of them get a little messy. I try to show a little trick I use with the bags on this, and the mixer, of course. There's a lot of ways to measure the fork oil. There's a lot of little tips and tricks that I think will be working to your benefit, and it's a good idea just in terms of maintenance to do it. On an Rd400, there's a drain screw at the bottom. What we're going to do is use a plastic bag, a sandwich bag, to catch the oil. I don't want to get it on my shop floor, of course. And there are other ways to do this. If you have the forks taken apart, you can turn them upside down, in which case you usually get a little bit extra oil out. But we're going to try to compensate for that, because what I'm going to do is measure the oil that comes out and add just a tiny bit, so I have too much in there, and then just bleed out if I have a little bit extra. But you never go wrong if you just let it drain for 10-15 minutes and then put the amount in that the manual calls for. That's another way to do it. If you overfill it for some reason, it's pretty obvious. You go to push the forks down, they're not going to go through their full travel. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. So step one is to get the bags in place, and then we're going to put a little hole in the top of the bag to release the bleed screw. The oil will come out in the bag. It should be relatively simple, and that's step one on this job, and it's the easiest way I know to do this, neat and clean. So I've done this a couple of different ways. I've used Gorilla Tape to hold this up. It seems like the easiest way is to do a zip tie, but make sure the bag is underneath, because the oil is going to squirt out. And I'll put towels down anyway, because sometimes you do get a drip or two. Now I have to put a tiny hole, just big enough for the Phillips screwdriver, to get in there, release both sides. Some oil will drip out, but then when I pump the forks, a lot more or all is going to come out. And with the two bags installed, I actually can do both fork legs at once, but then one of the key things is to be patient, let it drip down, and try to get as much of the old oil out as possible. We're doing this maintenance on a really hot day. If we were doing this when it was below freezing outside, this oil would take forever to come out. You notice I just poked the hole. That's all you need. The screw can fall into the bag, because we're going to empty the bag later. And you can see some of it actually drips out. The screws fall into the oil. We'll take that out later. Now, what's going to happen is, once I get the other side out and I pump the forks a few times, more and more will come out. But then there's that time you want to just let it drip down. Make sure you get it all out. Any oil in there, you can see probably a couple of years old, 3 years old since the last time we've done this. I'll have to look at the manual, the maintenance manual. So once you rock it off the stand with the bags there, you can see the oil, and there it comes out. And now you got to be patient and try to get as much out as you can. The next step is just to get rid of the bag, fish out the screw, try not to make a mess, and put the screw back in. Okay, that's tight. Okay, we let that drain down a few minutes, had a cup of coffee, and here's what we got to do now. I'm going to take the weight off of this. Now, there's several ways to do it. I can put it up on a center stand, jack up the front, but as a safety thing, I always like to have my come-along attached somewhere on the frame or on the handlebar areas, so that there's no way this can tip over, because I'm usually always here working by myself. I don't want to take any chances. So we do have all the oil out of the forks, and the two screws are back in. Now the next thing is we're going to take the handlebars off, protect the tank with a towel, and take off the two cap screws, and we'll be able to put the new oil in. Now if you look at the factory manual, this is something we're going to upgrade right now. Well, we've upgraded it in the past, but the both models take 4 ounces of oil, and again, if you put 5 ounces in, the forks won't compress all the way. And they recommend 1030 engine oil. Well, we're not going to put engine oil. I have fork oil to put in there. So I would average this, since this is probably a winter amount they would want and a summer viscosity, they probably want 20 weight oil. I'm not sure that's what they had in mind, but I'd rather put fork oil in and just bypass the manual. But it is 4 ounces, so we have to carefully measure that out. So I have a measuring device that I used in modeling, which now I'm going to use up to the bottom line of this with the fork oil, and that'll be for each tube. And that comes out to be 4 ounces and about 1/4 ounce. Now, just to do a little experiment, I don't know if this is going to work, I'm not sure, but I have both. I have 30 weight fork oil, 10 weight fork oil. I'm going to mix them 50-50, mix up 8 ounces of what I hope will be close to what the factory calls for. But this is not the same. I know when they rate motor oil, they don't rate it like fork oil, but this'll hopefully give me 20 weight fork oil. That'll be a little stiffer than what I guess what a stock one would be. And we'll try it. If we don't like it, this is a relatively easy thing to change. So again, I'm not sure this is exactly what Yamaha had in mind for 1030, but we're gonna certainly give this a try. And all these fork oils are compatible. They should be anyway. Okay, so we know that's the amount from the last time we changed the fork oil. We know that's what we need. So that will be 1. And then what I'm going to do is mix these 2 together. This will be pretty interesting. Anyway, I like to experiment. You know, I like to fool around. And the RD, of course, a good bike to do it because pretty much all the maintenance on it's relatively easy, relatively straightforward, and usually the results come to pass right away. Now, modern upside down forks, I'm not sure this would be the way to do it, but we're going to find out. So now the trick is I'll just get a bigger jar, mix these 2 together. One is 30, one is 10, and hopefully we'll have 20 weight oil. Now, I also thought of something that I could do in the future, and just for our own experiments. So first thing will be, obviously we'll get 2 of them level. It's not real rocket scientist, and I've mixed a lot of fuel in my life, so nitromethane fuel has to be mixed pretty close anyway. That's not really close, but we're going to get it. And then we'll check it that we're at the 4 ounce. Okay, we're pretty close now. I also thought another thing I could do is just put one leg of, and on the MT09 and on the R1, one leg is compression, one is dampening. This would probably be an okay way to do it. I don't know, but this will certainly be an interesting experiment. The first time I get to do a relatively fast ride over bumpy roads, I guess we'll figure it out. Okay, so that basically is my fork oil. Now, 1 for each leg. Now I've got to pull the handlebars off and get the caps off, and we'll be good to go. Always important to protect the tank. Now, obviously the handlebars come right off. You probably could get those out if you wanted to use different wrenches. For me, it's just as easy to take the handlebars off. Not a big deal. But we do have to get the strap on eventually and not pinch any wires so that we can pick the front end up, and that'll allow the forks to extend all the way. If the forks aren't extended all the way, it's really difficult to get the caps back on. So we're trying to make this as easy as possible. Once I get the last bolt out of here, this will be ready to drop down. I want to protect. I don't want that paint to get scratched. Okay, there we go. Now I can get at the cap nuts. Because those cap nuts are aluminum, one of the tricks you can do is get a little piece of a garbage bag, a plastic bag, put it around that and put the wrench on. It keeps it from scarring up that nut any more than necessary. So the way this worked, I hope I get this on video, that there's just a piece of the sandwich bag on there. It's all you need. Now, in the time we were making this video, we've got a big thunderstorm went through. It's still there. But, of course, it's always a good idea if you crack these first before you actually take the handlebars off. I guess that's a lesson we'll put in the bank for now. Just take these off. At the very end, you don't want them to jump out. Kind of hold your hand over it so they don't pop right out. All right, once the cap is off, now I'll get a funnel. I'll clean in there with a Q-tip. I don't want to have any dirt in there or anything. And put in my fork oil. It's usually a good idea not to try to put this in too fast, or it's got to take its way and flow down. I'll just take it down. I don't want to make a mess here if I don't have to. Wait till it all goes in there. Okay, that's one leg. Now because the spacer in there is under compression, we've got to get the spacer to go down. Get this on top of it. It's a little tricky, but we'll get it. And all we got to do is get one couple of threads caught and run for you all. And it can be a little tentative getting that down in there, but you've got to really just put some pressure on it. And of course, without handlebars on, this gets to be pretty tentative, but we'll get it. All right, all that's left is to do the other side. Bolt on the handlebars and go see if the Thunder is stopped outside. Basically, just getting the handlebars in place, getting them socked in, not real tight. I'll do that once I get everything hand tight and get my controls where I'm happy with them. Actually, what you could do if you're not real sure, you could just mark it with a Sharpie marker. But so I pride myself on not leaving out steps, and I did leave out a step. I put bricks under the back wheel to keep it from going forward and back in case this were to get loose. And get that right where I want it. Right about there. And this of course always requires a fine tuning. After I get done with something like this, I just take the wrench with me, and if I have to fine tune it, it looks like the Thunder is stopped and the sun is out, but it's not a nice day. So we're not going to try to get a test ride today. We'll save that for another day when he's in the pitching rotation. Yeah, feels about right. All right, so let's see what this feels like, a gut feeling. Get it off the stand. Let that oil circulate. Ooh, that's nice. That feels real good. Now the test is always with any suspension, and you can look at Dave Moss's channel or anybody that's really knowledgeable. I just watch their channel and learn from it. What I try to do is get one full pump, and it goes down, up, and stops. If it goes, then you have a problem. This looks like it's going to be good. Now don't forget, we're in really hot weather here, so I'm sure this is going to be good right now, but come winter time, you might want to put the 10 weight oil back in. I don't know. We'll find out sooner or later. Well, for those of us who still love two strokes, it's a thing of beauty. Now with some fresh fork oil, even better. So I hope you did enjoy the video, and thank you so much for watching. And keep those two strokes alive. So if you're riding in really cold weather, cool weather, you might want a little bit lighter than stock fork oil, lighter viscosity. And if you're riding in super hot weather, you might want to go up one setting on the fork oil, go from 5 to 10 or 10 to 15. Now the manual doesn't really call for an exact fork oil, so you got to do a little experimenting, which I've done over the years. I've got it fitting my weight and height and everything. And I don't ride with 2 passengers, so I always can tune it just for me riding the bike. And in the end, it's less than an hour to do the whole job. And you can really make a little difference in making the bike suit your needs just a little bit better. It's relatively inexpensive. It's whatever the oil costs you in an hour of your time. And just knowing how to do it, which I've tried to share how I do it on this video, I think makes it very easy. It's not a thing you would need to set aside a whole day for. And if the weather was even better today, I would have just gone out for a test ride. But it is something that in reality you should do on a regular basis. Now, if you're new to our channel, we have a very, very eclectic channel. One of the new features we have now is some of the videos are grouped into groups that you can access all the videos for one category in one mouse click. And it should be very convenient and very handy. Just check out the feature on the main screen playlist. And thanks to everybody for supporting the channel. We appreciate your support, and it makes this channel possible with all the things we do, the painting, the wheels, the polishing. And please take a second or two and hit the like button. And thanks everyone for watching.